Chantal, look at your phone and see if you can answer my question, please. Hey, Mark. Okay, good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Building Permits and Housing Starts, 10-Minute Trades Trade Room. My name is Lee Goldstein. I'm the Trading Director for 10-Minute Trades. And I just want to remind everybody it is possible to lose money trading futures. All of the events that we're discussing are for educational purposes. So please trade carefully. All right. So I want to welcome everybody on YouTube. We're streaming. Chantal, you see my message? You're kidding. Really? So listen, folks. I have to really be truthful with everybody. We have an issue, and we changed our address, and we were opening. Everybody knows we've been opening. Open your Ninja, Chantal. I think you're wrong. Can everybody out there? Can you give me your current price on gold? The current trading price on gold, Mark. Okay, good. 1782. Very good, very good, very good. Okay. So let me explain what the problem is, and so everybody knows what's going on, because we're always transparent, we're always truthful. So we're opening we have told everybody we're changing our accounts because we're doing a lot of internal things, advertising, and just trying to make the company grow. And we had an issue with our broker, and they were opening our second account and noticed that our address was different. So they won't allow us to trade until they update. They're actually making us open a new account because of the compliance division. So I can't trade live for a couple of days because we have no access to the account. So it's so frustrating. We had Netflix today. We have building permits this morning. So I can only trade in Sim this morning and probably all day today. Our goal is to have our new account open by the end of the week, if not sooner. But so I'm just going to have to use these trade rooms as more educational than trading, because we all know that a sim trade is not always quite as accurate as a live trade. So I just have to be forthcoming with everybody and tell you what's going on. But I can't access our trading accounts until we get our address. It's unbelievable until we get our addresses changed on the new account. So it's going to take a couple of days. That's the reality. So I have to trade. That's why I was checking the price of gold. I want to make sure that my data is correct, because I'm not on my normal data feed. So it's a shame But it is what it is. There's nothing I can do about it. But it might mean that I cannot trade Netflix with all my tools. In other words, well, we'll discuss that in the Netflix room later. But I don't think I'm going to be able to connect my the demo is not a multi-broker demo account. They're not going to let you have a multi-broker demo account. They're just not. So we'll talk about that later. So the building permits and housing starts is new as a family money trade. And, you know, why does something become a family money trade? It becomes a family money trade because of the behavior, okay? And it's really acting like a very healthy, normal report since April, okay? And in that, isn't it ironic that April is the days that we started implementing family money trades? Now, you never jump, right? You don't jump into a new trade, or you don't take an old report that hasn't been behaving and automatically turn it into a family money trade just because it had two good reports. A report's got to do quite a bit better. Now, especially if it has a history of not being all that great. Okay, so building permits was always one of those reports that was decent, okay, but I'd have to qualify it more as a coin toss than as a, it was never a prime trade, right? Some of you remember prime trades, and it was never a family money trade since April. But obviously, I've got my eye on everything that we do. That's my job. My job is to keep my eye on everything. So let me show you. Let's go back to April. Let's go back in time and look how lousy building permits the DMM was if you go back to April. In fact, December and January, and those were tough times also. We didn't trade it with gold. So look, you've got a report that if you go back, not an ultra amount of time, but if I go back to the April 2021 DMM, you see a DMM that's pretty disastrous. So if you're going to trade, the rule of thumb anyway is, unless I'm so unbelievably blown away by the testing and by the behavior, the current behavior of a report, unless it's overwhelming in its confidence, then you trade the first time you're trading a family money trade, you trade it with care. You don't load up and trade it huge. You want to verify that your analysis is on the money. So it means you've got to, you know, trade a couple of months of this report live, because we've got to be sure that it is a family money trade. We're basing it on current behavior, which is what we do. Now, there are reasons why this type of report is more prone to behaving well. It's because building permits and housing starts is inflationary, right? And that's one of the things that the DMM says. This report is likely reacting to inflation hitting the housing market, okay? And August was a rare whipsaw, as the two readings were bipolar. So what does that mean? It means that building permits and housing starts, those are the two readings, right? Those are the results. They were very opposite each other. creating a chaotic result. Okay? That's what often happens. It doesn't always happen, but we know trading events, we're looking at the event, we're looking at what does the market expect from this event, and what actually is the data from the event. In August, the news was, we call it mixed, okay? My boss says it was bipolar. So that means that it was a big difference between the two pieces of news that make up building permits and housing starts. It's building permits is one and housing starts is the other. We want both of them to agree. In other words, if building permits is positive, we want housing starts to be positive. When they're mixed, it creates more difficulty to have a positive outcome. Okay? Does everybody understand that? It's the basic DNA of why these reports work and why sometimes they don't. Also, it's never 100%, but it is very often, very, very often, extremely often, these reports are moving because of the news results, okay? Otherwise, we wouldn't be here. If it wasn't often, we wouldn't be here. It's just that simple, okay? So let's look at last month, because I remember last month, and I remember thinking to myself, wow, this report has been winning report after report after report for months. And I went back and I'm giving you all the thinking that I've done on this report over the past, the testing and building permits, housing starts. It's never been a report that would explode like WASD or the jobs report. It's not that kind of huge report in its history. It's never been that way. But I like these smaller reports if they're working well, because they're generally lower risk also. And why are they lower risk? Because your stops are not as big, and your risk of a whipsaw is not as frightening. It's much more, what's the word? You can trade more relaxed because you don't worry as much that it's going to explode to the one direction and then go another direction. They're generally more manageable to trade. Just everything about some of the smaller reports makes them great. Also for beginners, they're easier to trade. And last month, you can see that I'm starting to feel that there's something good happening with this report. So, I'm very prudent and I'm very conservative in the room because I'm concerned about your money as much as I'm concerned about ours. So I traded one contract, okay, because we haven't been trading the report for a while. So all of this yakking, all of this talking, there's a point to it. The point to it is don't load up and trade 50 contracts on this report this morning. We're testing a new report. Trade one or two contracts. That's it. And if it works, fantastic. If it doesn't work, I'm still going to trade it next month, because one or two stops out of 6 or 7 doesn't ruin the report. It just doesn't. If you have 7 job reports, US jobs, and 5 out of 7 are profitable, that's okay. That's all right. 5 out of 7 is pretty good. That's pretty darn good. So I hope everybody gets my drift. All right. My drift is trade conservatively until we have a good sense of the behavior of the report. Now, so we have a setup. And there are certain things about this setup that definitely scare me and that make me worry. You know, the bracket is very small. It's only 4 ticks in a gold market. The gold market's pretty volatile today. Okay, it's not your grandmother's gold market, that's for sure. It's pretty volatile. You know, it's getting ready to make a new high. It's going to do it probably at the gold open, which is at 820. All right. So there is risk, especially with the size of the bracket. We could easily get filled before the news comes out. Now, you could increase the bracket size to 6, right? But look at the target size we're dealing with on this report. It's not a big mover. It's just not a big mover. Okay. Now, the other thing that I do is I go back to my personal notes. All right. And everybody should keep a personal trade journal. You know, Futures.io did a whole month, and all they talked about was everybody's trade journals and how they set them up, and just if a you know, a location like Futures.io, which is, you know, it's a reasonably well respected website. You know, I'm not going to talk about the personalities, et cetera, that some people have had issues with, but Futures.io has very good information, and they have a lot of traders that go there for help and for, you know, reviews, et cetera, The key point I'm trying to make is if they thought it was meaningful to spend a tremendous amount of time just talking about journals, asking for people to send in their journals, then I can't really express how important journals are. Okay, very important. So I go back to my journal, and in April, one of my notes is the 4 bracket was safe. Okay, the bracket of 4 was safe. Now the markets were pretty volatile in April. All right, so that's important. That's important. I want to know. And one of the things that I always put down in my journal is if there's a problem with the bracket, because I want to be able to change the bracket if I need to. Because you have to think about your targets if you change the bracket. Unless your study of the report shows you that you have good movement, then you might want to adjust your brackets. Okay. Now, also in June, I made a note. The DMM was fine for the trade. So that's 2 comments that I was talking about the bracket, because the bracket size is small. All right. Then in July, same thing. I did the same thing, commented about the bracket over and over and over. August was a stop. Okay. Now, it's nobody's fault when a report doesn't work. It's not because our setting is horrible if you get one stop out. My notes totally agree with the notes that my boss made. Where Ripsaw, as the 2 readings disagreed, they were bipolar. It was mixed news. That's exactly what my notes say. That's exactly what my journal said. In other words, we were in the room, we saw the results, the news didn't agree, and it has the ability to create a difficult result. Okay. And then in September, looking like a family money trade, trading very well the last 6 months. That's my last comment on this report. Okay. So I'm just saying that because we're dealing with a new report, you should be prudent, be smart. If you're going to trade it small, okay? Because we need to see what's going on with this report. Now, Albert makes an interesting comment. He's trying MGC with one target. Now, one problem with MGC, which is micro gold, sometimes micro gold just goes wild, right? It has low liquidity. It has the potential for low liquidity and not a lot of orders. So it has potential to burst up and down unexpectedly. So MGC, it's not always a great test. It's not always a great test. So setting up the software, you just click on JOBB version 9 and one-click range trade. Put on the bracket of 4. That's the first adjustment you make. Slide down to position size. That's your orders, how many contracts you're going to trade. Now, I explained to everybody, I'm not able to trade live this morning. It is what it is. I can't change it. Not going to dwell on it. But it does. So I'm not going to trade 4 or 5 contracts. There's no point. We want to see what's going to happen. So I'm just going to trade 2 contracts. It'll show us overall what's going to happen. Okay. And if anybody out there is trading live 1 or 2 contracts, you'll tell me what happened to you. Okay. And we'll compare notes and we'll compare bills. That's what we have to do. We have to do this for a couple of days. I explained what's going on. So we're looking at targets of 4 and 8. The stop is 10, and it's a 45-second cancel. You don't rush to cancel unless if the news doesn't agree, then you have every right to just exit the trade if you haven't been filled, okay? You might want to just get out if you haven't been filled. You might want to cancel the trade, okay? So you understand what I'm saying. If the news doesn't agree, you might not want to hang around waiting for a fill if you haven't been filled. If the news agrees and it's all to one direction, that's what we're always looking for, then you don't cancel unless you've been filled, unless you don't get filled within 45 seconds. I don't use the auto cancel because sometimes we know that the news was released late, and we may want to add 15 or 20 seconds to our cancellation that day. We have reports where we know traditionally the news comes late, more often than not. Now our entry time is 8:29:59. That's if you're in Eastern time. If you're in Pacific time and your ninja should be set to Pacific time, you set your trade time to the time you're in. If you set it to Eastern time and you're in Pacific time, your software won't fire off the trade, okay? 8:29:59 is our entry time. It's a breakout trade. We're trading gold. And you know I always label my trades. And that's it, particularly if I have 2 trades at the same time. So gold, building permits. And that's all you need to set up on this report. Now, this is not a very fast moving report generally. You can use a little bit of automation on a report that doesn't move super fast. Let's say it hits the first target, right? Let's say it hits your first target. You can automatically move your stop. The reason I was hesitating is because it would be a great report to automate your target It would be a great report to automate your target. Lou, the gold market just opened. That's why it had to move. It always opens at 8:20. So you need to be aware of that. That move is the gold open. Okay. Now, it is very big this morning, and it's opposite the trend. Opposite the trend. That would have been tricky to trade the gold open this morning. Possibly. Now, I wasn't watching it. Okay. 829.59. That's our setup. It's a breakout trade. What I was saying is you could automate. So if it hits the first target, target one stop move, we can move our stop to break even -1 or break even -2 ticks automatically. If it hits my first target, I'm going to lock in 2 ticks of profit because I'm going to move my stop to break even -2, and my first target is 4 ticks. If I were trading 3 positions on this report, I could move my stop if it hits target 2, and then I would move it to say break even +3, right? Because it hits my second target. My targets might be 4, 8, and 12. Okay. But that's what target one stop move does. It will move my stop to break even -2 ticks if my first target gets hit. So I'm going to test that out this morning because this is generally not a super fast moving trade. Now, I'm sorry I wasn't watching the gold open because that was quite a move. Quite a move. The gold open is at 20, right? 8:20. So it looks like it was a straight downward move. So, but that's what caused that move, is the gold market opening. Okay. That's what caused the move. The gold market was opening. So generally, Lou, we still trade. In other words, we know why there's volatility at 8:20 in gold, because the market opens. Okay. So we don't worry that it's going to ruin the trade. Now, if an index made a move like that before a trade and there was no open, no, blessing, no, I'm not referring to break-even profit ticks. Now we're getting very close to the trade. So very quickly, target one stop move is what I'm talking about. It's right under your profit targets. Target one stop move. Break even -2 is what I set it to. BE -2. Target one stop move. It does exactly what it's called. If it hits target one, it moves your stop. It moves your stop. Okay. So totally different than the other field. So I was just putting my computer in sync, right? We want to make sure we're in sync. We can get in sync, most of us. Doesn't work for everybody, but there's other tools. If you go to the website time.is, just go there. It will often put your computer in sync. Okay. Often. So quite an interesting move from gold at the open. I mean, there are traders that trade and love opens, right? There are traders that love opens. They trade the grain opens. They trade all sorts of opens, right? Because you can pretty much count on volatility most of the time on an open. So opens, if you figure out a system of how to trade them, right? Like even trades opens. If you have a system for trading an open, it's something you can do every day also. That's why people love trading opens, right? Traders always are looking for something reliable that they can do almost every day. Now, you're not always going to get a perfect setup on an open. Now, I don't know, because we weren't watching gold this morning. I'm not sure that was a perfect setup. It looks like it had the possibility. Let's watch now, because we're getting close. So let's see if our analysis makes any sense on this event. If it hits the first target, you'll see my stop. The news is out and it's negative. And see how my stop moved automatically? I can move it to break even. Now I want to be patient. Okay, so it backed up and hit my stop. Okay, backed up and hit my stop. If you didn't move your stop, and you don't have to, that's why I like the idea of using the move on the second target. Automate your second target, right? Because look, we got a good move. The market was negative. Building permits were negative. Housing starts were negative. Our call for this being a family money trade looks real good. Okay, looks real good. Anybody who traded 2 contracts should have made some money. If you didn't move your stop, you would have made more. But stop management is one of the keys to all of this, right? And I can show you very quick, or it doesn't even have to be very quick. If you are willing to spend a minute or two here, I can show you something that can help you. First of all, let's look at the video, okay? Let's look at the video. The frustration for me is I would have made money. We would have made money today. And because of an address problem, our broker won't let us trade. It's insane. Absolutely insane. Anyway, let's look at the video. Let's look at the video. Give me 1 second. My videos are going in the craziest place, but at least I know where they're going. So that was building permits, housing starts. Give me a second, folks. I want to show you the trade. I just have to save it where I can find it. So give me a second. Today is the 19th. And okay, here's the video. So what could we have done differently that would have made us a lot more money? Okay. What could we done differently that would have made us a lot more money? Don't move your stop as much, okay? Use 3 positions, right? Remember, I always say sometimes it's easier to make money if you trade a little bigger, in other words, and I'll show you. So here's the real trade. I was showing you a feature called automation, moving your stop automatically if you hit the first target. News comes out, our target got moved to break even -2, but then I moved it manually even more. And then I was going to move it. I was getting ready to move it even more. If I left it alone, it would not have taken us out of the trade. If I left it at 1778.70, it might not have taken us out of the trade. Okay. And you could have made more money. Now, this was a family money trade, not unbelievable high risk. However, if you added a third target, you could have moved your stop after 10 ticks of profit +4, right? So one thing you can think about doing is not being in a rush, trying not being in a rush to move your stop. Okay. Calvin, why are you crying in the corner? Why are you crying in the corner? Oh, traded sim. Oh, that's okay. Calvin, that's okay. Don't beat yourself up. So let me show you quickly by doing a fast playback, right? So to play back, you go to Tools, Historical Data, and you get this simple chart. Let me record this. Let me record this for everybody, because everyone's always asking me, how do you do a quick playback? It's very easy, and I have a million videos. So let's say you want to replay the trade. You want to do testing, back testing. Go to Tools, go to Historical Data, and then you get this chart with Ninja. Close your clock. You don't need it. Click Market Replay, click Load, click Get Market Replay. Put today's date in. Today is the 19th, not the 18th. Pick the 19th, and then choose the contract we just traded, GC 1221. Click Download. And now it's done. When you click Download, if you look on the lower right corner, it shows you that it's downloading. So we downloaded the replay data, playback data. Shut the screen. Don't need it now. Disconnect your live connection. Connect playback. When you connect playback, you get this wacky, not wacky, you get a control panel. You get a control panel. Okay? Yes, Ray, we have a trade room for Netflix, Intel, and Tesla. Put the date on today's date in these boxes. Start on the left. Today is the 19th. Okay? Today is the 19th. Now, wait till go-to shows up. Let me back up. Put the dates in. Right-click in this blank space. Right-click. Wait for go-to to show up. Takes a second. Click go-to, and you can put the time of the trade, but give it 5 seconds before the trade. So the trade's 8:30, right? 8:29:59. We put our orders on the chart. So put the time in 8:29:50, 10 seconds before, so you have time to watch the setup. 8:29:50 is 10 seconds before the report, the news gets released. Okay it. Now, just put in your trade exactly like we were trading it from the DMM. So get your DMM, right? Get your DMM out, enter your trade. But I want to show you something about using that extra contract. Why it's easier to make money sometimes by taking more risk. But It's not an ultra risky report. Bracket of 4. Okay. Now remember, I only made $40. Bracket of 4. But I'm going to use 3 positions. So you have to be a little bit smart, not greedy. I'm going to use 3 contracts. So I'm going to make my targets 4, 8, and 12. You know, I can make my targets 4, 8, and 20. Because what if there's a giant move? You don't know if you have the hope of getting a runner. You don't know. Now, remember, we moved our stop automatically by using target 1 stop move. I'm going to use target 2 stop move because I'm trading 3 positions, 3 contracts. If the price hits target 2, move my stop to break even plus 1. Okay? If target 2 gets hit, and if you hover over this item, it shows you what it does. When target is hit, move stop loss from current position to here. And then it shows you what the inputs are. Break even plus 1 is possible. Okay? So I'm going to do that. And then put your time, normal time of the trade in. It's just like you're trading it all over again, but it's a replay. It's a playback. 8:29:59 coming right off the DMM. The activation time. Okay, our stop is 10. Make sure your stop is 10, and it is. 3 positions, 4, 8, and 20. Apply it, okay it. Now, sometimes we've been struggling with a minor little bug in Ninja. Put your price on the chart. Don't forget to enable your strategy, okay? If you don't enable your strategy, it won't fire. Now we're going to put our time in because there is an issue with Ninja. Sometimes you have to put the time in twice. And we're working on finding a solution for that. But if the time, just double check your time. Sometimes when you start the playback, it sets to 12. Just put the time in again, 8:29:50, 10 seconds before the news is released. 8:29:50 a.m. Okay. Our time is now set. Organize your pricing so your bracket is good. Now we're not really worried about the ES. We're replaying gold. We're using the clock in the replay. Okay. Press play. Now watch. Our orders are going to show up. There's our orders. It hits, it fills us. It's just like what happened in real life, right? It's going to move up. We know it's going to move up. We didn't move our target though, our stop. We did not move our stop when our first target got hit, right? Because we're looking for that second higher move. We would have been stopped out at that pullback, but we're being patient because our risk is not that high. Now we moved our stop to break even plus 2. Now we can trail our stop. Leave your target in place. What if it hits your target? Trail your stop, but don't get so close to price that you're going to get stopped out. Trail your stop, leave your target in place. If it bursts up, we're going to get our target. If it reverses, we're trailing our stop. Okay? It's better than moving your target. If you move your target, you're giving up all your profit. Look, we didn't move our target, and it hit it. It hit it. Okay? A great lesson in trade management. Okay? Folks, that's a great lesson in trade management. Now, I have that recorded also. I have that recorded. and I'm going to call it replay. Building permits. All right, today's date. And I'll put it up on our YouTube channel, okay? As a public video. I'll put it up on our YouTube channel as a public video, so you don't need a link to get it. All right, let me just find it, make sure that I know where the darn thing is. Who's got a question? So that's replay. Then, you just close it out, and you now know how to do NinjaTrader Replay. It's not that difficult, and it's something that allows you to test trades over and over again, right? So you can practice. You can find your own family money trades, right? You can find your blessing money trade. You can find your Ray money trade, your AirCal money trade, your Eben money trade, right? You don't need me for everything. You need me to just show you the basics, and then you can run from there, right? You can run from there. Who's got a question? Who's got a question? Run, Forrest, run, right? Mark, did you trade the gold open? Was it easy? Was it as easy as it looked this morning? Because we weren't watching it. So my only question would have been, did it start moving down initially? Right, Tess. If you don't move that last target, Tess, you have the opportunity to get that. You get that profit. Now, who taught me this? You want to know the truth? Who drummed this into my head so that I would finally pay attention? Mark. Mark, who's sitting in the room right now. Ellis. He was constantly drumming it into my head. Stop moving your targets. And I still move my targets because I was taught that way. I wasn't taught the right way. All right. But exactly, try not to rob yourself of profits. Try not to rob yourself of profits. Okay. All right, everybody. So regardless of what's going on, we're going to do all our rooms, and I'll try and do a lesson in every room to make the rooms fun, okay, and educational. So let's take a quick look at our schedule. When's our next room? Our next room is Netflix. And it's going to be a big challenge today. A big challenge. Not as bad as you think. Because remember, I don't have a multi-broker trading account today. I have a regular account. So we'll just do things differently today. But the trade room will be good because I'll teach everybody how to use the one-click range trade setup. It's a setup we don't use a lot, but it's a very useful setup that if you know how to use it, it'll help you. Okay? Any questions? So we'll be here at 3:30. We'll be here at 3:30. Thanks, everybody on YouTube. I think probably most people on YouTube are in the trade room. At the 8:20 open, Blessing? Do you mean at 8:20? That's the bond open, Blessing. That's the bond open. 8:20 is when bonds open. So a lot of people trade the bond open also. A lot of people trade the bond open. The gold open is more interesting. The gold open's more interesting. So look, you can easily test the gold open, right? How would you do it? I wish I would have kept the recording on. So I could show you, and let's say you want to test the bond open, right? Blessing noticed that bonds moved at 820. Okay. He noticed that bonds moved at 820. So go to tools, go to historical data, right? Click market replay, click load, get market replay, put today's date in on the right. It's the 19th. Select the current bond contract. It's ZB 1221. Okay. Make sure you're disconnected from playback. You cannot download when you're connected to playback. Now I can download the data. That's why it was grayed out. You cannot be connected to playback to download playback data. Down at the right, it tells me it downloaded. I can close this. And then make sure your connection is playback and you're connected. Now, if you don't see price, click the F and it puts your candles back on the chart. But get your time and your date organized. Today is the 19th. So in the box, put the 19th. Do the left first, then the right, 1019. Right click in the blank space, right? Right click in the blank space, go to. Now, put the time in. You know that the bond open is 820, right? You want to see if there's a trade. Put in 8:19, 50 seconds. You could put 8:19 and 30 seconds. Maybe, that'll be better. Maybe you'll set up a range trade. So for now, 8:19 and 50 seconds. Bonds open at 8:20. We got 10 seconds. Okay. Now, we don't even have to set up a trade. Now, you see there's no price. Click F. There's my price. All right. Let's just press play and watch the market. You don't have to trade. Now, see how it set it back to noon, 12 a.m.? Just right click in the blank space if that happens. Go to and reset your time to 8:29, 50 seconds. Sometimes Ninja just resets the time. AM stays the way it is. Okay, it's a minor inconvenience. The benefit of doing replays is so great. Press play. Now we're watching this morning's bond market at 8:20. 8:29, 58, 59. Here's the open. We're just watching. Is there a trade here? It moved kind of slow. Nothing happened. 9 seconds, 11 seconds. So I made a mistake. Look what I did. I put the wrong time in. Okay, wrong time. Go back, right click, go to. I put 8:30. We want 8:20. Okay, so 8:19, 50 seconds. 8:19. So look, we knew we made a mistake because there was no move. It's not the end of the world if you make a mistake. It takes a minute to fix it. So I fix it. Now I can press play. Now we can see, is there a tradable move at 8:20 this morning? 8:19, 8:20, bonds open. Looks like maybe. Maybe. Okay. I mean, you got something going on. Something happened. Not as good as gold was, right? Certainly not as good as gold was. but something is happening. So you do that and you just watch the market. You didn't put a trade on. Now go back, put the time on before 8:20 again, 8:19, 8:19, and 50 seconds, and set up a trade. Set up a trade. Right click, strategies, okay? Use the regular software. Now you got to think outside the box. You're making up your own trade. You want a small bracket, okay? You want a small bracket. 2 or 3. 2 or 3. Let's put 3 on, even though, look, we know this morning it had a move, okay? But let's model this after the bond auction DMM. So we use a 2 or 3 bracket on most of the bond auctions. So it's an open, so we'll go with the higher size bracket. We'll use a 3. Our first target in most bond auctions is 2, and our second target is 6, okay? So we'll do that. And we'll put our entry time. We know the market opens at 8:20. So we'll make our entry time 8:19 and 29 seconds. I'm sorry, 59 seconds, not 29. Let's see if we can get away with 58. The more time you have before a move, before a strategy gets put on the chart, the better. Because you're then not getting caught exactly as the price starts moving. So we're going to put 8:19 and 58 seconds as our entry time. You can label the trade, right? Bond open. And we've got targets of 2, targets of 6. All right. And we set up a replay. Apply it. Okay it. Enable your trade. Don't forget, enable the trade. Press play. Let's see if it works. Our orders are going to go on at 58 approximately. Okay. Sometimes if there's no movement, you don't get your orders immediately. So our bracket, we're just looking for 2 ticks on our first target. And it's not fast. So this morning, we're just going to wait. We get filled, okay? We're risking 3 ticks, right? So let's move our stop. Let's move our stop. It hits the first target. So get your stop way down, okay? Way down. You don't want to give it all back. Our target looks like it's too big. It does look too big. Now, we said you don't want to normally move your targets, right? But if you're clearly too big, then you might want to consider it. You might want to consider it. Because right now, we could lose money on this trade. We could lose money, okay? So I'll move my stop to safety. I'm going to shrink my target because it's not moving. I'd like to get filled, okay? Trade management, folks. Trade managements. Okay? Trade management. Now, I think I'm getting a note from Eben here. Getting a note from Eben. Okay. Eben has a bond open that he loves. So even there's one important thing you're leaving out of your setup. Wait, you're talking the CL open or are you talking ZB? You're talking the CL open? Okay, let me just end this video. That was another replay video. Hang on 1 second. Bear with me. So even there's one thing missing from your CL open. If you're using a range trade, what's your entry time? In other words, when are you ending the range? When are you ending the range? That's my question. Okay. So 859.59. And what are your targets? Your profit is 7. Are you just using one? You're using 3 lots, one target, one target. Or you're using, oh, very interesting. So Eben has found himself a CL open by practicing with replay and then setting up a trade and then setting up a trade. Okay. He's making money. He's making money without me. You don't need me for everything. The beauty. So Blessing, he's just using a range of 859 to 859.59. So how do you do that in the software? All right, stick around. Let me show you how to set up a random range trade, okay? How do you set up a range trade? So let's say you want to trade. Now, we just missed the CL open. Literally, the CL open is right this. We just missed it, okay? We just missed it. So just for fun, let's download. I will teach you how to set up a range trade right now, okay? Let me record it. It's very easy. So let's say you want to set up a range trade on the oil open, okay? So first step, you got to download the data. So download any day that you want to practice setting up a range trade. So let's download yesterday's oil data. So you go to Tools, Historical Data, you get that chart, right? Click Market Replay, click Load, get Market Replay, and it's already on yesterday, 10/18. So you don't have to change the date. It's on yesterday. And we're going to download oil. I'm assuming oil is CL 1121. Even I didn't check it. Am I right? Oil is 11 still. It's on 12 now. Okay. So I would always check volume, etc. Make sure you're on the right chart. Okay. Oil is CL 1221. Let's download today. All right, let's download today. We can see it, see what happened today. So today's date is the 19th. Put the 19th on. Contract CL 1221. Click download. Make sure you're not connected to playback. You must be disconnected. Download the data. It shows up there. Close out this window. We downloaded today's data, connect, playback. Now, is Fred here? Fred said, if we do the time last, it should work without that little crazy bug. we're doing today. Even I'm doing today. So don't worry. I'm not worried about your setup even. I think your setup is probably good because you're trading it. So we downloaded today's data. Let's put the chart on the correct index. Oil is CL1221. Let's set up the trade first. Don't worry about anything. We're going to set up the trade. How do you set up a range trade? Right-click the chart, go to Strategies. We don't need the clock. We're setting up a replay, okay? Understand? We're setting up a replay. Click on the software like we always do, and then it shows up, okay? Now, you don't worry about bracket for a range trade. Now, even the one thing you didn't say, plus or minus how many ticks. The first thing you got to decide is after you create the range, how many ticks above the range do you want your orders to show up on the chart? How many ticks above the range and below the range do you want your orders to show up on the chart? So even that's the one number you left out. How many ticks above? So he likes 3. All right? He likes 3. I'm going to do 2. Just because. That's my personal choice. So 2 ticks above the range, 2 ticks below the range. That's where things are going to show up on the chart. Graphic shown on chart gets checked for a range trade. It gets checked, and then choose a color so you can see the range drawn. Graphic shown on chart draws the range. All right, that draws the range. The range box color is just the color of the range. I like pink. The range line thickness is just how thick the range lines draw. We don't need the look back. We're going to use the range start time. The range start time is the time that the range starts calculating. That's the beginning of the range. It's supposed to be 9:59:00. Even uses one position, but 3 of them, 3 contracts. So position size is a 0 for 2, and for 3 it's a 0. But I'm going to use a target of 5. I'm going to go smaller, okay? And he uses a stop at 12. I'm going to use 11. Not on target, sorry, on stop, 11, okay? Now on my bond replay, I didn't set a stop. It should have been 3 or 4 for the bond open, okay? 3 or 4. I had a very big stop in, so just remember that. So oil, you got 2 ticks above the range, 2 ticks below. Graphic shown on chart gets checked. Graphic shown on chart gets checked. Choose a color for the range. And then the time that the range starts calculating, it's 8:59 because the oil open is at 9. So it should be 8:59:00, not 9:59, 8:59:00. Position size, we're using 3 contracts for 1 target, 5 ticks. Our stop is 11. Now we have to end the range, right? How do we end the range? So we have a space to calculate, a time. We're calculating the range ends at 8:59:59. So we have ourselves pretty much almost a minute range. It started 8:59 and it ended 8:59 and 59 seconds. Choose range trade. Okay. Choose range trade. That's all you got to do. That's all you got to do. It's set up. So we now have a CL open range trade. Okay, you can save that as a template. So tomorrow morning when you trade the CL open, you can bring back the same setup. Go to template and click it, click save, give it a name, CL open range, and date it so you know when you did it. Save it, and then tomorrow you can bring that back. We're going to apply it, we're going to okay it, and enable it. Now we're going to set up our time. Okay? Entry time is the end of the range. Is the end of the range. Wally, I fixed it, right? I fixed it. We can go back and double check our setting. Uncheck the enable box. Right click the chart. Click on strategies. Go back and check your settings. The first thing you look at, ticks above the range, ticks below the range. 2 on both. Graphic shown on chart is checked. We need a color. Our range start time, 8:59. 3 contracts. Just looking for 5 ticks. Risking 11 per contract. We have to end the range. So we have an area of time to calculate the range. So we're going 8:59:59. It's a 59-second range. Okay? Roughly. And then choose trade type, range trade. I label it, apply it, okay it, enable it. Now you got to set up your NinjaTrader playback. Make sure your dates are the date for the data you downloaded. We did today, right? 10/19. We did yesterday also, I think. So we'll see. If I got the date wrong, we're going to find out. I think we did both. So 10/19 is today. 10/19. Right click the blank area. We got to put the time of the trade in. Wait for go to show up. Only takes a couple of seconds. Click go to. Now, it's a range trade. You don't have to wait for the whole range to draw, right? What if you do an hour range? You don't want to sit there for an hour and watch it draw. You can put a time in the middle of the range. So our range is 59 seconds. We could put 8:29, 8:59. It's a 9 o'clock trade, and 50 seconds. And we'll still have our range if things are working properly. Remember, if you don't see your price, click F. The trade's enabled. Our range is there because we put the time in 8:59:50, but we started calculating the range 40 seconds ago. So you don't have to wait those 40 seconds, right? That would be kind of crazy. That'd be crazy. Our range started at 8:59. The top line is our entry. The bottom line is our entry on the short side. The 2 lines in the middle are the range. It's creating and calculating the range. Press play. Now it reset. Remember, Ninja resets the time. Sometimes right click in the blank space, go to, just put the time in again. It's like a 20-second inconvenience. The benefit of learning what happens on the trades is worth $1 million. 8:59, 50 seconds. It's a 9 o'clock trade. In 10 seconds, the oil market's going to open. There's our range. Everything looks good. Press play. In 9 seconds, our orders are going to show up at that spot and at that spot. There it is. We got filled. Okay, now today almost stopped us out. It's pretty choppy. Not liking it. Not liking it at all. Might be a loser. Okay. Not liking this move. Trying to get out. Trying to get out. Okay, we lost a couple of bucks. All right. Lost a couple of bucks. Not a great move in the direction we were filled, but you now know how to set up a range trade. Mark, we're staying here. And if, you know, it's what Mark is saying also, there is always something to the concept of having targets at different prices. When price is not moving in your direction, then you do have the opportunity to move price. You know, sometimes you will want to move price. There's never say never on anything. Never say never on anything, right? Never. All right, folks. So even's full of opens. Even's full of opens. Let me take down your NQ open. NQ open. Profit of 21. Okay. The range starts at 9:30 and just go for 30 seconds. Even, how about plus or minus 3? Plus 3, minus 3. Tess, we'll be in the trade room later. We'll be in the trade room later for that. The gold open Wally is 820. Stop of 39. Stop of 39. That's a strange stop. Tess, I'll have a video, okay? Tess, I'll have a video. I'm not sure what my setup is yet until I go over it this afternoon. And it's a whole different setup, Tess. So I'll record it. I'll record it for you. I'm going to record it no matter what, because it's using the one-click range trade. So even, interesting setup. 9:30, 30, plus 3, minus 3. 30-second chart. Interesting. 30-second chart. Even, thank you very much for sharing. Thank you very much. So does everybody now understand Tess? I know what Tess is thinking. Tess has a problem on his computer that we can't solve. And Tess, I think I know how to solve your problem, but it's very painful. It's very painful. Do you want to know what I would do? Ultimately, if I wanted to fix the problem, if it doesn't fix the problem, then I don't know what I would do. I would reinstall Windows. Now, maybe at some point we're all going to go to Windows 11. Maybe at some point we're going to go to Windows 11. Maybe that'll solve it, Tess. Maybe reinstalling Windows 10, but it's so painful to reinstall Windows. You have to reinstall all your programs because you don't want to copy your hard drive and do a clone of the drive to reinstall Windows, because we don't want to bring the corruption with us. I think a fresh install will probably solve the problem. That's what I think. Yes, blessing. I'm really well aware of it. Well aware of it. Gonna try and do more. Gonna try and do more. Okay, folks. So we now know how to do a range. We learned also how to do replay. Okay, and if everybody just bugs me later, I'll show you how to do reversal. Okay, reversal is real easy to set up. Blessing, I'm going to put it up on our YouTube channel. It's not there yet. Let me give you the link. It'll take me an hour. This is the link you can use. And you know what, folks? Subscribe to our YouTube channel. It really helps us. It really helps us a lot. If you all subscribe to our YouTube channel or our Facebook page also, it helps us. That's the URL. So I'll put it up. It'll be up probably in about an hour. Okay. So there's going to be probably 3 videos. A replay lesson on building permits and housing starts. A replay lesson on the ZB Open. And a range replay lesson also. It's more like how do you use the range trade. Okay. Cesar, you see the range? Do you see the link up there? Do you see the link? If you look up in the scroll, that's the link for the YouTube channel. Right there. HTTP 10-minute trade live. The videos will be up in about an hour. Okay. All right, folks. So I'll see everybody at 3:30. 3:30. Wally, good. I got to make it very interesting, okay, to make up for what's going on. Adam, very good. Adam, I think I thanked you for the email you sent me about the memory leak. I hope I did. Anyway, I wanted to thank you for that great email. It was absolutely fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. You know, the simple solution, Adam, is what we know. It's really to reboot. The simple solution is to reboot. That's why it's kind of funny. Reboot everything. But that is a memory leak. I've seen it in Ninja very rarely, but I couldn't reboot that day because I didn't want to restart the trade room 1 minute before the report. That was the problem. Okay, Eben, thank you so much. Eben, I'm definitely gonna, Chantal, are you here? Chantal, are you here? Do you want to test Eben's NQ open? Did you write it down? I wrote it down. It sounded great. It sounded really interesting. Eben, you're trading them regularly? You're trading them. Wow. Okay. Chantal, I'll talk to you about it. I'll talk to you about it. I know you're busy now, so I'll talk to you later. Okay. All right, folks, I'll see everybody at 3:30. See you all later. Thanks for sticking around. And thanks everybody on YouTube for watching. See everybody later. So long.